We used to be able to make music and get it played and still say what we wanted to say and still get our music played, but that's not really the case now because they still want to get their records played and they still want to be invited to the award show and get the big tours and those kind of things. So is it cancel culture? No, because they're not even stepping forward to be canceled. So it's actually a step deeper than cancel. It's the threat of cancellation that keeps them from saying anything in the first place. That's an interview from country star John Rich with Breitbart News back in July of 2021. Now on to a quote from Jason Aldean during his interview on Odyssey's Rob and Holly. At some point, it's gotten to where if you're a conservative in this business, you're not allowed to speak. Trust me, I have a lot of friends in this business that think the way I think, and a lot of them are really scared to stand up and say anything for fear of backlash or whatever the case may be. You know, over the years, country music has really encountered many cancellation attempts, if you will, and the argument made by many is that folks turn to music and live performances to escape whatever the hot topic of society may be, and fans would rather not hear artists voice their opinion or the other side of the coin that thinks artists have a platform and should voice their opinion. And sometimes it may just be something that one of the stars did on their off time that became publicized and their careers just hung in the balance within a blink of an eye. Today we are going to take a look back at 5 artists that have faced cancel culture in country music. At the end of this video, we would love to hear what you think about all of this down below in the comments. We'd love to hear your thoughts. First up, we start with probably the most hottest topic of them all out of the genre, Morgan Wallen. Back in early February 2021, Morgan Wallen's career became unknown after TMZ released a video of Morgan using a racial slur in the front yard of his home. He was immediately placed on suspension from his record label, then radio stations across the country refused to play his songs. Country music award shows and outside genre award shows banned him from participating and even being nominated for awards. Streaming services removed his music from their curated playlists. This was all just after the release of his sophomore album, Dangerous. Morgan Wallen put out a public apology onto his social media shortly after and announced that he would be stepping away from the spotlight for an undisclosed amount of time. With the amount of bans, social media cries, and cancellations, Morgan found himself dealing with many that had no clue on if he would ever return. There were even other country stars calling out Morgan and questioning his position within country music. However, after several months, Morgan Wallen returned, and he returned with gargantuan numbers surrounding his album sales and record-breaking stats, such as Dangerous holding the #1 spot for 10 weeks in a row, which had never been accomplished, by the way, since the year of 1987 when Whitney Houston did it with her album Whitney. Morgan Wallen also began to release new tracks that were taking the internet by storm, such as You Proof, Thought You Should Know, Don't Thank Jesus, and Broadway Girls. Then he announced his major Dangerous tour, featuring Larry Fleet and Hardy, which sold out as quickly as one's tour could even do, and sold as many tickets almost as the Rolling Stones. They were the only band that were outselling Wallen. That time was completely unknown and even dark for Morgan, as he mentioned before in a recent interview with XM's The Highway. It all turned around for the star, and he did prove that he had come back better and stronger than ever before, with a fan base that was really on his side. Moving on to number 2 on our list, the Dixie Chicks, who now go by the Chicks, one of the most controversial bands that have probably been a part of country music. The lead singer of the Chicks, Natalie Maines, spoke out on the Ellen DeGeneres show when the band made their return back in 2020 and stated that she believed that the Chicks were early victims of cancel culture. Here's what Maines said. "I think we were one of the first people to feel that cancel culture. And I think, what we said or what I said back then would not even be a thing today because it was really mild compared to what people say today. On one hand, everyone has this forum where they can say whatever they want to say, but on the other hand, this platform can move really quickly and ruin people's lives. Now, you all may remember when the Chicks were performing over in London back in March of 2003, a year and a half after 9/11, and while George W. Bush was still president of the U.S. During their set, Maines addressed the crowd and said that the band was ashamed. The President of the United States is from Texas. Shortly after her remarks, radio stations in the U.S. banned their music. Folks even were renting steamrollers to crush their collection of albums. Now, not only did the Chicks call out Bush at the time, but they also took a shot at a fellow country star. They took a shot at Toby Keith, who had just released his song courtesy of the Red, White, and Blue. During this time, Maines was seen wearing an FUTK shirt, which she initially denied, the shirt being against Toby, but in 2006, in their documentary Shut Up and Sing, the band confirmed that the shirt was in fact against Toby. She also told the Los Angeles Daily News at the time that she hated Keith's song, and it's ignorant, and it makes country music sound ignorant. It targets an entire culture, and not just the bad people who did bad things. You've got to have some tact. Anybody can write, "We'll put a boot in your ass," but a lot of people agree with it. The kinds of songs I prefer on the subject are like Bruce Springsteen's new songs. Now, Toby Keith responded and called Maines a lousy songwriter, all while displaying her photo next to Saddam Hussein's during his concerts. So from 2006 till about 2016, after all of this, the Chicks really did not tour in the United States and were pretty much non-existent within the genre, other than some of their music would occasionally be played on radio here and there. But in 2020, Gaslighter, their new album, was released, and the trio has been out on tour this year in 2022. And like I mentioned earlier, they have dropped Dixie from their name and are now known as the Chicks. Third on our list is Kid Rock. Now, Kid Rock has never really been canceled, but the masses, they've tried. Y'all may remember a specific time where Kid Rock bashed Oprah Winfrey and Joy Behar in November of 2019. Rock insisted that he was not a racist and bashed the two during an alcohol-fueled rant at his bar Kid Rock's Honky Tonk Bar and Restaurant located in downtown Nashville. According to a video released by TMZ at the time, Kid Rock's remarks were, "I'm not a bad guy, I'm just an honest guy that says, hey, I don't like Oprah Winfrey or Joy Behar. They can suck." He continues and says, "Sorry, Mom, the hey, you're fucking racist, I'm like, you're fucking weird. And you call your people and I'll call mine. Like, what? This is fucking weird, right? Oprah Winfrey, Kathy Gifford. I'm 48 and I'm the guy you want to be like, hey, I want Kid Rock on my side. I'm not the bad guy in the equation. I'm the fucking guy you want. Like, hey, he's pretty cool." Oprah Winfrey is like, "Hey, I'm going to get some white women to believe in this shit. Fuck her. She can suck dick sideways." And if you say that, well, you're like, "Pretty sure Kid Rock's a racist." I'm like, "Okay, fine. Fuck off sideways." Now, shortly after that night, Kid Rock released a statement onto his Facebook about those comments, where Rock wrote, "My people tried to get me to do the Oprah Winfrey show years ago, and her people wanted me to write down 5 reasons why I loved her and her show. I said, f that and her. End of story. I am just saying what a lot of people think. Not saying I should be, but sometimes I just do. Oh well. I have a big mouth and drink too much sometimes. Shocker. I also work hard and do a ton to help out others. But that's just back page news because the press hates I love Trump. F them too. I am what I am. I ain't what I ain't. P.S. And you haters and internet trolls can check my touring numbers and shut your ignorant asses up. Boom. P.S.S. I did not get removed from my own bar. Fake news. If anything, I was leaving and the cops were helping me out. Hey, at least I don't drink and drive. P.S.S.S. Was it racist when I said f Joy Behar? And by the way, I love Kathy Lee Gifford. Now, Kid Rock never left the spotlight or fell, to the wayside after this incident. And hell, even this year in 2022, he stood by what he said again during his interview with Tucker Carlson. Kid told Tucker, "I don't apologize to anybody. I'm not an Oprah Winfrey fan. I got drunk and next thing, I'm on stage saying, Oprah. I was trying to go after Kathy Griffin, for holding up Trump's head, but I'm so out of it like Kathy Lee Gifford. And when it comes back on TMZ or whatever, a few weeks later, I'm like, oh man, I like Kathy Lee Gifford. We've been kind of friendly throughout the years." So, like many times before, Kid Rock stood behind his remarks. And Rock has never really had a problem telling off the masses. Kid Rock also recently released his new album, Bad Reputation, and he is currently on tour. Fourth on our list is Luke Combs. Luke Combs met much backlash back in early 2021. This backlash came after he was pointed out for his use of imagery surrounding the Confederate flag in his music, and by way of a sticker here that is bearing the flag, as you can see in this screenshot. Combs was labeled a hypocrite due to the fact that he had just released a song with Billy Strings called The Great Divide, which focused on the tensions surrounding the U.S. at the time of its release, which was also in early 2021. Shortly after, many turned to social media and began calling for his cancellation. Luke decided to take part in a panel discussion with fellow country artist Maren Morris. Combs issued an apology regarding his past Confederate flag associations, where he said, as a younger man, that was an image that I associated it to mean something else. As I've grown in my time as an artist and the world has changed drastically in the last 5 to 7 years, I'm now aware on how painful that image can be to someone else, no matter what I thought at the time. Luke also went on to explain how it takes both sides of the fence to listen and be patient with one another to understanding each other's side. Combs has obviously continued on strongly with his career, falling only under Morgan Wallen in streaming numbers as current country acts, and he just released his third album, Growing Up, which is outstanding, by the way. Luke Combs and Morgan faced their criticism and call for cancellation around the same time. Last but not least on our list is Carrie Underwood. That's right, Carrie Underwood. Again, back in the year of 2021, there was a hot topic. It was the mask mandates for children attending school. During that time, there were meetings being held around the country where parents would meet with their towns and school board officials to either fight for or against this mandate. In one particular meeting, a meeting that occurred in Nashville, had Carrie Underwood coming under fire after many Twitter users noticed that her official Twitter page had liked another post from political commentator Matt Walsh, who was in attendance at this particular meeting fighting against the mandates. Walsh posted a video of himself fighting against these mandates, and as you can see here in this screenshot, Carrie Underwood's official account shows that she liked his video supporting that stance against the mandates during COVID. And here are some of the tweets that had Carrie under fire. First up, we have, "No worries for her children. They're probably homeschooled. The hell with others' children and families." Next, "Wow, that's no American Idol." Third, "I used to like her." Next reads, "Not surprised. Disappointed, but not surprised." And lastly, we have, "I mean, she does look like most of the anchors on Fox News. Not surprising in this particular instance." It never appeared if Carrie Underwood ever responded to these claims, but again, like the others, she has continued on with her career as well. But like I said, country music has seen its fair share of criticism and calls for cancellation against these artists throughout the years, and particularly the last few years. So guys, we would love to know your thoughts on all of this down below. Love to hear your insight. That will be it for today's video. However, if you're new to CountryCast, hit that subscribe button down below. Turn those notifications on as well so you never miss out on any breaking updates surrounding your favorite country artist and all the news coming right out of Music City. Y'all stay country.